Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bumpkin News. Today is May the 4th, 2011. The hoopla has kind of died down a little bit on the hit on Osama Bin Laden, and I don't hear anybody, virtually no one, that has taken an opposing view on this. But we want to talk a little bit about the Obama Doctrine, which I feel like has now been defined by the President and by his recent decisions. There's a couple books that every high school student should read before they graduate from high school. And I would venture to say that if you would ask 1,000 high school students across the country about these two books, I sincerely doubt if 50% of them had even heard of the book, and probably 10% might have even read the book. It's a real shame. Those two books, the first one is Animal Farm by George Orwell, which is a small little tome, but it doesn't take long to read it all, but gives us a clear picture of a socialist, communist government, the fallacy of it, and also a book by John Fitzgerald Kennedy entitled Profiles in Courage. And give you a little history here. One of the chapters in Profiles in Courage dealt with Robert Taft, who was called Mr. Republican, that wanted to be president, wanted to run for president, had a good shot at being elected, but he threw that away because he stood on principle. And the principle that caused him to lose his chances at being the U.S. president was that he stood against the Nuremberg trials. These were the trials of the Nazi mass murdering war criminals that were tried, I believe it was in The Hague, or no, excuse me, it was in Nuremberg, Germany. They were tried for crimes against humanity. And this was not just the United States that tried these criminals. It was the world, in a world sanctioned court that tried these mass murders, allowed them to present a defense, and then many of them were either imprisoned for various sentences, and I think there were probably 20, maybe a little bit more, that were hung and executed. And Hermann Goering, he was able to thwart justice by committing suicide by a smuggled, I believe it was a cyanide capsule, in his prison cell. But Robert Taft objected to this because he said that might does not make right. He said just because we won the war does not give us the right to try these people that were part of a democratically elected government, that were part of a sovereign nation's government. And of course the American public didn't see that rationale, and he gave up by that act, by that principled stand, any hope of ever attaining the office of president. Myself, I feel that he was wrong, because crime, no matter where it is, needs to be punished. There are crimes against humanity of such a nature that the world cannot permit it to take place without punishment, and to warn those that would lean towards doing that in the future that there will be a penalty exacted for such crimes. But it was handled, I think, in a very admirable way. It was everything was above board and legal. The United States sent as one of our prosecutorial teams to the Nuremberg trials was, I believe he was the Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, Justice Jackson. He represented us and presented a case before the World Court that brought in the guilty verdicts. Now we have a different scenario here. We have the President of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama. He has a different perspective on this, and he has now launched the Obama Doctrine. And the Obama Doctrine is a little bit different than that the United States has followed previously. You know, we just learned that President Bush has declined an offer to appear with Mr. Obama at Ground Zero in some sort of, I don't know, some sort of celebration of the killing of Barack Hussein, or excuse me, Osama Bin Laden. But I think I understand where former President Bush is coming from on this. You know, he's a very modest man, and he's a very class act, and I don't think that he wants to be in the limelight, and I don't think, knowing our previous presidents, I don't think that they would condone this sort of an assassination. I think President Bush would have required, as one of the criteria for this hit, being that he would have had to have been taken in Afghanistan or some country where we were either had the permission of the government of that country, or it was in an active zone of operations of the war on terror. But Mr. Obama has chosen not to do that, and I think, and also he is, by his own admission, has taken full responsibility for the entire organization, the execution, and the ordering of this, which, by the way, if I was a Navy SEAL, you say, would I have done this? Yes, absolutely I would have, because I don't know the diplomatic connections above me and what government approval from the Pakistani government had been given. That's not for me to question. But in good faith, I could have fired the kill shot or the kill shots in Bin Laden, if in fact he would not refuse to be taken prisoner. But anyway, back to Mr. Obama's doctrine. Now we have a precedent for the United States and for the world. The world can now know that might does make right. If you're the biggest bully on the block and you've got the power to do it, you've got the brass and you've got the brawn, you can do whatever you want in the neighborhood because you got the strength to do it. And that justifies what you do. The end justifies the means. You don't have to worry about any kind of legal process. And so the new Obama doctrine is that the United States, having the technological and the logistical and the intelligence capabilities, we can go anywhere in the world that we want to at any time, and we can kill anybody that we want to without any permission from any government or any world governing body. We do have that the right to do that because we have the means to do it.